I wrote both Cisco cases and the Shenzhen Filtril case to be plugged into a module in the organizational behavior class that I teach for our MBA for executives, in which we're thinking about what it takes to be a leader in an international environment. And so these two cases represent a couple of cases focusing on leadership situations and leaders in environments outside of the U.S. You could easily use these cases in an organizational behavior class that would be for full-time MBAs as opposed to MBA for executives. They would be great as decision cases, as understanding of structure cases, but I'm going to tell you how I use them. Prior to getting to the point in the class where a student would see these cases, we've done the basics about understanding yourself, about building relationships, about understanding teams, and we've been confronted with situations that new managers might be experiencing. So we've had some cases on becoming a manager, on dealing with situations, on managing performance, whatever it is. And now we're at the point of taking what seem to be relatively simple situations in contexts that students would be familiar with and taking a lot of those same issues but putting them in an international context, putting them in a situation of a business being run in a different part of the world. The first case that I use, and you might want to do a different order, but the first case that I bring in is the year of the manager. And I bring this case in because what I want to focus on is what is the leadership philosophy of the protagonists of the case? How did they use that philosophy to form their business, to create the strategy, to develop the structure, and then how can they be true to that philosophy as they decide what to do in the three situations at the end of the case? So it really creates this wonderful link for the students to see that how they design their organization, or what the design is in their organization, what the strategy is, how that connects to what their leadership philosophy is, and how important that philosophy is in directing them for the decisions that they take. So that would be more of a big picture kind of case, because we're wrestling with a lot of issues in that case. But then maybe we have a little bit better understanding of what it's like to do business in China. Maybe we have a better understanding of what some of the cultural differences might be and cultural challenges. So now we're really going to get into a very tough situation, and that's the Shenzhen Filtril case. And so now we really have to take a decision. You really have to figure out what you're going to do. And so the focus in that is less about understanding the context of doing business in China, but it's more about what decision are you going to take and why. Interestingly enough, the case that I will do after that is not a Darden case, it's a Harvard case, and it talks about whether you're leadership ready. And the name of the case is Silvio Napoli at Schindler, India, and that's a wonderful case to get people talking about a concept that they call, in the case, being a warrior or a monk. And is this Italian gentleman working for a Swiss company doing business in India, is he ready to take on the mantle of a managing director position? And hopefully by the time the students get to that decision in the course, they've been confronted by how all the pieces need to fit together, the philosophy, the strategy, the structure, down to the decision. They've wrestled with the decision so they can see whether, in fact, how their decision-making will work in an international context, and then they get a chance to see if they're really ready to take on a management development position.